Canto 3, entire mystery scope. Chapter 4, Vidura approaches Manjana, text 32. Evam tri-loka-guruṇā evam tri-loka-guruṇā evam tri-loka-guruṇā sandiṣṭaḥ śabda-yoninā sandiṣṭaḥ śabda-yoninā sandiṣṭaḥ śabda-yoninā badaryāśramam āsādya badaryāśramam āsādya badaryāśramam āsādya harim samādhinā harinīje samādhinā harinīje samādhinā evaṁ tri-loka-guruṇā sandiṣṭaḥ śabda-yoninā badaryāśramam āsādya harinīje samādhinā sandiṣṭaḥ śabda-yoninā badaryāśramam āsādya harinīje samādhinā evaṁ tri-loka-guruṇā sandiṣṭaḥ śabda-yoninā badaryāśramam āsādya harinīje samādhinā evaṁ tri-loka-guruṇā sandiṣṭaḥ śabda-yoninā badaryāśramam āsādya harinīje samādhinā evaṁ tri-loka-guruṇā sandiṣṭaḥ śabda-yoninā badaryāśramam āsādya harinīje samādhinā
evaṁ tri-loka-guruṇā
sandiṣṭaḥ śabda-yoninā badaryāśramam āsādya harinīje samādhinā evaṁ tri-loka-guruṇā sandiṣṭaḥ śabda-yoninā badaryāśramam āsādya harinīje samādhinā evaṁ tri-loka-guruṇā sandiṣṭaḥ śabda-yoninā badaryāśramam āsādya harinīje samādhinā evaṁ tri-loka-guruṇā sandiṣṭaḥ śabda-yoninā badaryāśramam āsādya harinīje śabda-yoninā, by one who is the source of all Vedic knowledge, badaryāśramam, in the pilgrimage site of Badarikāśrama, āsādya, reaching, harim, unto the Lord, satisfied, samādhinā, by trance. Translation and purport by Divine Grace Śrī Bhakti-Vedanta-Swami Purport. Translation. Śukadeva Gosvāmī informed the king that Uddhava, being thus instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the source of all Vedic knowledge, and the spiritual master of the three worlds, reached the pilgrimage site of Badarikāśrama and engaged himself there in trance to satisfy the Lord. Please repeat this translation. Śukadeva Gosvāmī informed the king that Uddhava, being thus instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the source of all Vedic knowledge, and the spiritual master of the three worlds, reached the pilgrimage site of Badarikāśrama and engaged himself there in trance to satisfy the Lord. Purport by Srila Purport. Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa is factually the spiritual master of the three worlds, and he is the original source of all Vedic knowledge. It is very difficult, however, to understand the personal feature of the Absolute Truth, even from the Vedas. His personal instructions are needed in order to understand the personality of Godhead as the Supreme Absolute Truth. Bhagavad-gītā is the evidence of such transcendental knowledge in gist. One cannot know the Supreme Lord unless one is graced by the Lord himself. Lord Krishna exhibited this specific mercy towards Arjuna and Uddhava while he was in the material world. Undoubtedly, Bhagavad-gītā was spoken by the Lord on the battlefield of Kurukshetra just to encourage Arjuna to fight. And yet, to complete the transcendental knowledge of Bhagavad-gītā, the Lord instructed Uddhava. The Lord wanted Uddhava to fulfill his mission and disseminate knowledge which he had not spoken even in Bhagavad-gītā. Persons who are attached to the words of the Vedas may also know from this verse that the Lord is the source of all Vedic knowledge. One who is unable to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by going through the pages of the Vedas may take shelter of one of the Lord's devotees such as Uddhava in order to advance further in knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Brahma Samhita says that it is very difficult to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead from the Vedas, but he is easily understood from a pure devotee like Uddhava. Taking mercy on the great sages who lived at Badarikāśrama, the Lord authorized Uddhava to speak on his behalf. Unless one has such authorization, one cannot understand or teach the devotion and service of the Lord. While present on this earth, the Lord executed many uncommon activities, even traveling in space to bring down the Parijata from heaven and recovering the son of his teacher, Sandiṣṭaḥ, from the regions of death. Uddhava was certainly informed of the conditions of life on other planets, and all the sages were anxious to know of them, just as we are anxious to know about the planets in space. Uddhava was particularly deputed to carry a message to Badarikāśrama. not only to the sages of that place of pilgrimage, but also to the Nara-Narayana deities. Such a message must have been more confidential than the knowledge described in the pages of the Vedas. The Lord is undoubtedly the source of all knowledge, and the messages dispatched through Uddhava to Nara-Narayana and other sages were also part of the Vedic knowledge, but they were more confidential and could be sent or understood only through such a pure devotee as Uddhava. Since such confidential knowledge is known only to the Lord and Uddhava, it is said that Uddhava was as good as the Lord himself. Every living entity can, like Uddhava, also become a confidential messenger on the same level as the Lord, provided he becomes confidential himself by dint of loving devotional service. Such confidential knowledge is entrusted, as confirmed in Bhagavad-gītā, only to pure devotees like Uddhava and Arjuna, and one has to learn the mystery through them and not otherwise. One cannot understand Bhagavad-gītā or Srimad Bhagavatam without the help of such confidential devotees of the Lord. According to Śrī Kṛṣṇa, that confidential message must have concerned the mystery of his departure and the annihilation of his dynasty after the end of his appearance in the mundane world for 100 years. Everyone must have been very anxious to know about the mystery of the annihilation of the dynasty, and that message must have been explained by the Lord to Uddhava and dispatched to Badarikāśrama for the information of Nara-Narayana and other pure devotees of the Lord. Thus ends the Bhakti-Vinaya. Om Jnana-Mirandasya Jnana-Anjana-Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitanena Tasmai Śrī Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna-Krishāya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti-Vedanta Swāmī Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gautamani Vedari Devi Shesha Shunavadi Paścatya Devatarini Jaya Śrī Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Śrī Advaita Gadadhara Śrīvāsadi Gaurabhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This is a very interesting verse. In which Śukadeva Gosvāmī is telling Parikshit Maharaj that Uddhava, on the instruction of the Supreme Lord, stayed back in this world, even after the disappearance of the Lord, for a very particular reason. And that reason is also highly confidential, because it is meant only for devotees. There are many mysteries in this world, and an inquisitive mind, an intelligent person, would like to resolve these mysteries. But when it comes to mystery regarding the absolute truth, it cannot be resolved by our own endeavors, individually or collectively. The tendency is to do research, investigate, speculate, theorize. Both gross and subtle methods words are employed for resolving certain mysteries. The mysteries of the material world may be possible to be resolved by all these methods. But the mystery concerning the absolute truth, mystery concerning spiritual affairs, can never be resolved by any such material methods. It's not possible. Now again, if somebody tries to study the Vedas and tries to understand what is the mystery behind all these unusual incidents or events or descriptions, then again it is told the Vedas are not revealing completely all the details. And there is a reason for that. The Vedas have got a very definite purpose. Vedas are meant to give specific knowledge and specific process, to elevate people from the material plane to the spiritual plane, to spiritual understanding. But after coming to the spiritual understanding, to progress further in the spiritual platform, you have to take help of a confidential devotee of the Lord. That is absolutely essential. Even in the material world, we see many times that if somebody tries to learn some subject on their own, then using some books, using making some experiments, some investigation, some research, up to a certain point a person can go on. But beyond that, unless they actually take help of a very great scholar or very great expert, they cannot proceed further. We can start. So if this is true in material affairs, what is true of spiritual matters? So here is an explanation, a description that Uddhava was entrusted with a very confidential message to be delivered in Badarikāśrama for the sages and saintly persons who are residing there, headed by Naranarayana Rishi. Now, Naranarayana Rishi are the incarnation of the Supreme Lord. But playing the part of a sage or a saintly person to teach us the importance of tapasya in this human form of life. A very specific purpose is there for the incarnation of Narayana Rishi. But the mystery behind the disappearance of Krishna, the mystery behind it, the destruction of the Yadu dynasty. This mystery was specifically to be communicated to the sages in Badarikāśrama through Uddhava, whom the Supreme Lord Krishna sent with the message after the disciples. So we should understand that even though the Vedas don't contain certain confidential knowledge, they are available from the pure devotees. In the Brahma Samhita it is described, Vedeshu durlabham, adurlabham atmam. If you want to know about certain personal features of Krishna, then it is very difficult to understand or get such knowledge from the Vedas. Durlabha. But through the confidential devotees like Uddhava, Arjuna, you can very easily Adurlabham Atmabhakta, those who are very, very dear devotees, they can actually reveal this most confidential knowledge. And this concerns certain mystery about the activities or the features of the personality of God. This is the most difficult thing to understand, that God, who is unlimited, is a person. It's very difficult to understand. Even if people accept God, they may accept God as impersonal Brahman. They may accept God as Paramatma, who has entered into everything, everybody's heart, every atom, all pervading, present everywhere. But to understand or really comprehend God as a person, especially God as a person, having a form like a human being, in his original form, not in his incarnation. Incarnation he can assume any form. God as incarnation can assume the form of a fish, he can assume the form of a tortoise, he can assume any form. But in his original form in the spiritual world, eternal form, always present, like a human form, that is very difficult to understand. And even more mysterious is the appearance of the Lord in that human-like form. That original form itself he appears in this world. And then even more mysterious is he appears in that form and performs activities which are the most confidential activities which are enacted by the Lord in his personal abode, which is confidential devotees, the Brajavasis. It is the most confidential aspect of the Absolute. Now, why should we actually try to understand this or try to know this? What What is the need? What is the reason? It is because within our heart, every one of us, we have a relationship with that personality of Godhead, Krishna, in its original form. And that relationship is one of pure love. But if somebody tries to understand what is this pure loving relationship I have with Krishna, why we are on the material platform, why we have material conception about ourselves or about anything else, then we can completely misunderstand and we may be misled. It happens especially after the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you see, when he appeared as the son of a very orthodox, high-class, learned, austere Brahmana. His father was Jagannath Mishra. Father was staying in Navadvip. Navadvip was the great seat of learning. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's maternal grandfather was Nilambara Chakravarti. He was another very, very learned Brahman. So he appeared in such a family as the son of a very, very pious, learned, orthodox, austere Brahmana. And his initial days, he was just like an ordinary boy, son of a Brahmana, so he go to school. And then after his initial schooling is over, then he goes for higher education and then he excels himself in such learning and he starts his own school, Pathshala. And then in that Pathshala he is having so many students. He himself is almost like a student, 16 years old. But he starts from Pathshala and he has got so many students. And he defeats the greatest learned scholar of his time, Keshava Kashmiri, when he is running the school. So, what is who can understand who is this personality? Very difficult to understand. Not able to understand. But after he meets a great devotee, Ishwar Puri, then he is completely changed person. His activities are totally different. He gives up this business of teaching and defeating people in logic and argument and Sanskrit scholarship, everything he gives up. He starts chanting Hare Krishna on the order of his guru. And then he becomes completely like a sentimental person. You see, a learned scholar, he begins to chant. Okay, scholars also can chant samādhinā. Okay. But then the way he is chanting, he stopped all studies, he stopped going to that Pathshala, he closed down his school and he is roaming in the streets like a madman, simply Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Oh, what has happened to this boy? Even his own family members and all his associates and his neighbors, his well-wishers, his friends, his relatives, what is going on with this boy? What is happening? They all become very worried, concerned. I think something has happened to him. And then he actually goes to his guru and says, what kind of mantra you have given me? Then I am not able to stop chanting. And people around me are telling I am going mad. So what kind of mantra is this that you have given me? You know, sometimes somebody is under the spell of some black magic and then they behave in a very strange way. So somebody would have suggested that you got some very dangerous mantra. Somebody is controlling you through this mantra. No, I'm not under anybody's control like that. The person who's giving me is a very saintly person. He's a very nice person. He is not having any black magic. So then go and find out what kind of mantra is this that he has given you. Why are you behaving like this? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually goes to his Guru, Ishwara, and then asks him, what kind of mantra are you giving me? Then the Guru describes what is the mantra, what is the effect of the mantra when properly chanted, and what is the stage of chanting that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has reached in chanting this mantra. He substantiates from Srimad Bhagavatam, from the Brahmanāradiya Purana, from the Upanishads, from the Vedas. He actually explains what is this mantra, what is the way to chant the mantra, what is the effect of chanting the mantra, what is the perfection of chanting the mantra, what is the goal of chanting the mantra. Everything he explains. Of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, he knows everything. But still, to teach us that we have to properly learn from the Guru. So he himself goes to the Guru, receives the mantra, the effect of the mantra is explained by the Guru with a solid basis in the Vedic scriptures. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu begins to preach on the order of his Guru, the chanting of this Hare Krishna mantra. Now, this particular transformation or change in behavior of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a very confidential thing. Now, superficially it may appear like, a very nice boy who was nicely studying in a sober way in proper school, and when he was having his own school, something went wrong with him. He became a sentimentalist. He got carried away by some foolish sentimental person, and then he has become a sentimentalist. Like that, something interpret. And he's behaving like a madman. But then, if we understand what was the interaction between him and his Guru, and what is it that the Guru explained and communicated, and what did he say about this transformation in Chaitanya, it is actually a spiritual transformation. It is not a effect on the mind. Generally, when somebody becomes affected in the mind, emotionally affected, that is when we say person has become very sentimental or emotional. Some emotional imbalance is seen in the person, so his behavior is not normal. In psychology, they study paranormal phenomena. They study this. That a person, something happens by which he starts behaving very, very abnormal, unusual. And they want to study what has happened to his mind, what has affected this change of mind, etc. They study. They want to scientifically analyze, which is good. It is very good. But such paranormal phenomena in the spiritual realm cannot be understood simply by studying psychology. It cannot be understood. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu demonstrates this when, after he takes sannyas, he goes from Navadvip, he was staying in Navadvip and preaching, and then he took sannyas and travelled to Jagannath Puri. Now when he went to Jagannath Puri, as soon as he saw the deity of Jagannath, he went into trance. He apparently became unconscious. Now when he became unconscious on seeing the deity of Jagannath, he fell down. So everybody said, oh, something has happened to him. We have to bring him back to external consciousness. He became unconscious. So they're all very worried. Young sannyasi has just come, what has happened to him? So different people come to try to help him come back to external consciousness. But then there is one very learned Pandit, Sarvabhaumacharya. He tells all the people that I will take care of him, you don't worry. So he goes and closely examines what is the phenomena that has happened because of which this young sannyasi has fallen down. Sarvabhaumacharya knew that there could be a spiritual trance into which a person goes because of which he actually exhibits such an unconscious state. He knew that. And to prove that, Sarvabhaumacharya tells the assistants, they get me a very fine strand of cotton. And in the presence of all the people, he takes that strand and takes it near the nostril of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a sannyasi, young sannyasi. And then he sees that there is very fine movement of a particular nature by which he identifies actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in trance, spiritual trance. He is not fallen unconscious because he is having some giddiness or because he is exhausted or because he has not taken water or is too hot or it's some delirium. No. He is perfectly alright as far as his health is concerned. But he has gone into spiritual trance. So it is only by such authorities that it is established that this is not a paranormal phenomenon. You see? Now who can establish this? Common people, even learned scholars, Vedic scholars cannot establish this. Only somebody who has got the specific knowledge, what is the spiritual trance, and how to identify that. Just like we say somebody's incarnation. Now how to identify incarnation? Not everybody can identify incarnation. Somebody with mystic power may pass off as an incarnation. But the learned scholars or the learned devotees who know the specific characteristics of God, they can distinguish God from a yogi who may have some mystic powers. See, yogi has mystic powers which are very, very unusual. So just those mystic powers don't make the yogi God. God certainly has mystic powers, but God is something much more than mystic powers, some characteristics, some features, more than mystic powers. And those special features and characteristics are specially identified by the confidential devotees. In fact, it is not enough if God declares, I am God. Anybody can say, I am God. I can make a self-declaration, I am God. That's not enough. God has to be identified by those devotees who know the signs of God and who can actually give evidence from the scriptures about God and specifically identify those features which are described in the scriptures which prove that yes, here is God, because it tallies with the evidence in the Shastra. So there are very definite knowledge about God. And even the mysterious things about God are explained in the confidential parts of these scriptures. Just like there's a verse in the Bhagavatam that describes what is the ecstasy that a devotee experiences when he chants Hare Krishna. There is a specific verse in the Bhagavatam. And it is systematically explained in the 11th canto. The transformations that take place when one chants Hare Krishna. It is very scientifically explained. So, one cannot simply make a show and claim to be God, or claim to be a transcendentalist, claim to be having spiritual trance. It commonly happens that somebody says so-and-so person is a very great devotee of Devi, Durga, and Durga comes on his person, and then he will act like Durga. And then foolish people go and worship him, ask some questions, take blessings, try to please that person thinking they are pleasing Durga. You have heard this, no? Durga has come on person. Or Shiva has come entered into somebody's heart. All this is simply cheating of innocent people. No learned person, properly learned in the scriptures, will ever accept this. God is not such a cheap thing. To come on the person of some other jiva. And God need not do that. Now, empowered incarnations are a different category of incarnation. The empowerment by God is for a very specific purpose. And such an empowered personality does not have to act like God. He doesn't have to act like God. On the other hand, we see that empowered personalities actually display devotion to God. External behavior is like that of a devotee. Even Krishna appears, his own expansions act as his servants, render devotional service to him. Now this is very, very confidential, but it is explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita. The personality of Krishna is so attractive, and rendering devotional service to him is so pleasing to the heart that even Krishna's expansions want to actually render service and experience that pleasure of devotional service. Krishna himself wants to actually taste that pleasure of devotional service. And therefore he comes in the form of Chaitanya to taste that pleasure. So, if God himself comes in the form of his devotee, God's own expansions actually render service to God, then what is our business? Our business is simply to render service to God. No other business. Nothing else is our ultimate goal other than attaining to the stage of devotional service to Krishna. So that is the most confidential message of the scriptures. And that message is not available in the Vedas. That message is not available in the ordinary literature and the regular literature. And even if somebody wants to study the confidential literature like Bhagavad-gītā and Bhagavatam, still one has to approach a devotee of the Supreme God to understand this confidential message. Like so many people are reading Bhagavad-gītā, but not everybody is getting the confidential message of Bhagavad-gītā. What was it that Krishna explained to Arjuna? As Prabhupada says, Krishna spoke Bhagavad-gītā to encourage Arjuna to fight. So that was Arjuna's question, what is my duty? He's confused, whether he's supposed to fight or not fight. First he says, I won't fight. Then he says, but it's my duty to fight. So he tells Krishna, please, you tell me, what is my duty in this particular instance? I've got my grandfather, my teacher, respectable superiors standing opposite me, and they are all ready to fight. But compromise never work. Negotiation for peace didn't work. Now I'm supposed to fight and kill all these respectable superiors. My own kinsmen, over and above that. Bhishma and Drona, I'm supposed to fight and kill them. How can I do that? And still it is my duty to fight in the Dharma Yuddha. So please tell me what is my duty. So Krishna explains what is Arjuna's duty. Tells him that. Fight. Because it is the Dharma Yuddha. Okay. And there is no sin incurred by fighting in such a Dharma. But is that the only message of the Bhagavad-gītā? Yes, it appears like that. If somebody studies the Bhagavad-gītā, it appears that the message of the Bhagavad-gītā is you should do your duty. And in doing your duty, there is no sin, provided it is authorized by the scriptures. But there is a confidential message that Krishna tells Arjuna, I am going to speak to you this confidential message, which is because Arjuna is very dear to Krishna as his devotee. And that Krishna tells is the science of yoga. Imam vivasvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam. Vivasvan manave praha manuvikshvākare prati. Evam parampara praptam imam rajasya yogo sakaleneka mahata yogo nishpatam. That confidential knowledge of the science of the relationship between the living entity and the Lord. See, this word yoga is explained by Prabhupada. How many people know the meaning of this word yoga, which Krishna says, Imam vivasvate yogam prokara. Krishna says, I explained this yoga to Vivasva. Long time. Now this word yoga, what is the meaning of this word yoga? That itself is not known to people. Because Krishna is saying that yoga is now lost. It is coming down in parampara. This knowledge of yoga, which I explained to sun god, it is coming in parampara, Rajarshi parampara. But it is now lost. What is that yoga? It is lost So people think, oh, Bhagavad-gītā was lost, and the Bhagavad-gītā again has to be spoken by Krishna. It's not that Bhagavad-gītā is lost. It's not the text which is lost. It is the confidential message of Bhagavad-gītā which is lost. And what is the confidential message? That we should understand from the word yoga itself. What is the meaning of this word yoga? Yoga means the science of the relationship between the living entity and the Lord. And that science as it is lost. Because the parampara is broken. And Krishna says to Arjuna, Sarevayam mayatedya yoga prokta puratana bhakto sime sakha cheti rahasyam ekat uttamam. He says this knowledge of yoga, science of yoga, is the most confidential knowledge. Rahasya is confidential. Uttamam, it is actually the most confidential, topmost confidential knowledge. And I will reveal to you now because bhakto sime, you are my devotee. And what kind of devotee? Devotee in a very, very confidential relationship, sakhaji. So, devotees who are established in loving relationship with Krishna have different kinds of relationship. And one of the kinds of relationship is the kind of relationship Arjuna has with Krishna. The relationship of a friend. A loving friend. So, in this relationship, only is it possible to understand that confidential message. So, if we have to also understand that message, it's not enough to just read the text of the Bhagavad-gītā. Or merely Sanskrit scholarship is not going to help us decipher the confidential message. There is something hidden. And that's why Krishna says Rahasyam. Several places in the Bhagavad-gītā you can see this word. Rahasyam. In the 14th chapter, Krishna says, I'll tell you matters more confidential than what I will already reveal to you. 9th chapter is called the most confidential knowledge. Because you are not envious of me, therefore, I want to reveal this most confidential knowledge to you. 9th chapter, Krishna tells in the beginning. Idam tude guhyatamam pravakshyami anasuyave. Because you are not envious of me. So, there is a qualification for understanding this confidential knowledge. What is the qualification? One should be completely free from envy towards Krishna. And that qualification is for devotees. One such qualification is called a devotee. Devotee doesn't mean some external dress or some emotion or sentiment in the mind. No, that is not the real devotee. Real devotee is one who in the core of his heart is free from envy towards Krishna. And Arjuna is such a devotee. Arjuna is such a devotee. And therefore Krishna says, I will reveal to you this most confidential. Pushyatamam. Idam tude pushyatamam pravakshyami anasuyave. And like that Krishna goes on revealing at different points in the course of discussion this very, very confidential knowledge about this loving relationship between the living entity and the Lord. Now, this loving affairs cannot be understood simply by some scholarship. It's a question of approaching the person. Just like a boy and girl get married. For those who are married can relate to this. You know, for at least in our culture, Vedic culture, before the marriage, the boy and girl don't know each other. There is no free mixing of boys and girls in the Vedic culture. So obviously, the boy does not know the girl does not know the boy, and they are supposed to actually get intimately connected. Isn't it? Husband and wife, very intimate connection. So how will it happen? There is no magic that will make it happen. There is no magic there. There is a complete science behind it. That establishing a relationship, two people have to actually associate and understand each other's mind and heart. Have to have some loving exchange. Then only the intimacy can develop. Have to know each other, understand each other, know each other. One has to open up one's heart. So for us to approach Krishna, it's not an easy thing. And that to approach him with the idea that not simply approaching for some favor. The people generally think go to God if you want to fulfill some desire or get some blessing. No, this is not that kind of business. Some blessing I want, some desire to be fulfilled. No. I want to know Krishna's heart. And I want to establish my loving relationship with Krishna. Love means it has to be two-way. So how do I approach Krishna? How do I know his heart? How do I actually exchange love with him? Very confidential. So that confidential thing to understand, simply read some book you can understand. Or in isolation, somebody goes and sits and does tapasya, some austerities, severe austerities, you can understand. No. You actually require the guidance of a person who is established in that relationship. I don't know nowadays whether it happens. Formerly, when alliances were made, the elders of the family on both sides, the boys' side and the girls' side, it's a very big thing actually. That is almost lost in the modern generation. That elders of the family will try to find out about the boy or the girl whom they are going to actually make the alliance. And then so many considerations will be there. There's a consideration of matching the horoscope. Because horoscope tells so many things about the character, about the nature, compatibility. Well, that is taken away the whole life. That's the whole idea. So compatibility is a very important thing. Whether the natures will match, whether they'll get along nicely. And they also find out from the others who are known to the boy or girl. What have you got to say about this boy's character, girl's character, or nature, or behavior? Will it be okay if this boy and this girl get married? Can they get along very well? All this is done. Sufficient groundwork is